we talking to and young gods, OGs and young gods.
I know you guys are probably asking yourselves, who gave this nigga the right to write a Bible? But if we all look past the lies and false teachers of the men that portray themselves to be the powers that be and seek the truth, our lives just as well as all that lives, lives are Bible. No matter what man-made religion we believe in, just being true to thy Lord within ourselves will bring us peace. It's gonna be alright, cause in hell, we can't win the war between good and evil without being truthful to the powers that be.
Hood, hierarchy, mob pad. Every single episode, man, we gonna get more background.
I know how you feel because I've been through that 1,000 times.
Lovely ghetto you, beautiful ghetto you, sweet ghetto.
We made so much doing that. I started taking that money, throwing the concerts.
It's your boy, Project Pata, Hood Hierarchy, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, look, man, if it ain't in the hood, man, it ain't on here.
Hey, this your boy Mario Cannon, man. You rocking with Hood Hierarchy. You already know what's going down.
Team Pretty P stand up. It's a wrap. Tune in.
It's Deli Dale. And whenever I got time and I'm relaxing and I'm chilling, I don't give a damn if I'm laying in the bed with you. I'm checking out Hood Hierarchy. And it's just that simple, just that easy.
It's 7 Up, man, straight from Brooklyn. I want y'all to check my boy out, Uncle Beast, Hood Hierarchy. Get the dopest interviews, the dopest content, the dopest platform, straight from Chi-Town, man. You know what it is, man. We representing Uncle Beast, Hood Hierarchy. That's the highest of prestige. Get it? You already know. That's on game. You heard?
Well, I was saying this the one and only HD president, Mr. Bow Bow Bow. This is Hood Hierarchy checking in. I'm signing out. HD4, bow, bow, bow.
I'm booked and I'm busy. Yeah, I'm booked and I'm busy. Yeah, I'm busy. I'm about my money and not too many. Can't get with me. Stick to my lonely. Stick to my homies. Cause I ain't friendly. Ain't no gimme. I pulled it off the mud. Before I give this to you quick, ain't no showing love. I'm booked and I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm booked. Damn so busy. Schedule paper money to run it up.
F&G shit. Shot the whole day, go. Shot the bro Trey Boogie. We sliding. Sliding in the rental, trying to run a milli up. In the southeast, Trey Boogie been a plug. Rubber bands on the blues, hella panoramic views. If you get into it with the squad, you can never lose. It's on the flow like Yellow Rider. I got your vibe on her toes like nail polish. In the city, we get respected from everybody. You about to pull up on Trey Boogie, now let's chop. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Got it wet, it's not a cut. Ain't worried about what nobody else got, cause I got enough. Me and Trey Boogie locked in, he threw a lob, I dunk. Heard the beat and sauced it up, can't nobody go hard as us. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
What's happening, y'all? What's happening, y'all? It's the Friday night chop up. You know, I appreciate everybody tapping in. I always say you could have been anywhere, doing anything, but you're right here with me on this Friday night. You know, I appreciate y'all. And you know, today we ain't talking about trending topics or interviews or hot topics or any of that. We talking real life. You know, we talking about what folks go through behind closed doors. We're talking about feeling alone while you're dealing with illnesses. And I know, it's going to hit. But this is the Friday night chop up where we talk about mental health and physical health issues. You know, it's a safe spot. It's a safe place for us to chop it up. You know, I don't pretend to be no doctor or no psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm just somebody that's living it and been through so much therapy and everything else. And I just feel if I could talk about it and be open, you never know who is going to help, You never know who is going to help. So, hey, everybody on Facebook, everybody on Instagram, come on over to YouTube. Come on over to the YouTube. Come on over to the YouTube. I see y'all. I see y'all. So, yeah, man, let's dig into it, man. You know, we're talking about that silent struggle, right? Silent struggles. And illnesses don't always look like what you see on TV. You feel me? Sometimes it's a smile with pain behind it. You know? Sometimes it's folks just saying you good, and you be like, yeah, I'm good, you know. But deep down inside, you know you're not good, you know. You know you're not good. A lot of us go through the day like that, just that's just something we say, right? We're good. We're good. How you doing, man? I'm all right. But inside you just exploding with emotions, right? You dealing with so much stuff on the day to day. But yet we say we're good. Yet we say we all right, you know. Especially when you're dealing with mental health and physical health, emotional issues, you just might feel like the world's just spinning and spinning and spinning without you, right? And that's a scary place to be. And I've been there. You know, folks you thought would hold you down, vanish. The calls stop. The texts dry up. It's like you become invisible to the world, right? Yeah, and that affects you. You know, that affects your mental, and your mental affects your physical. You know, your physical affects your mental. They go hand in hand. You know, that's why sometimes I just sit in silence in the room. A lot of times I don't have nothing on. Just sit there, and I think about how many people walking around like, they got it all together, but they hurting. There's a lot of folks out there doing that. Myself included. You know, so if that's you, and if you're listening right now, feeling like, dang, Trey Bug, you talking to me. Just know I see you, man, and I feel you. You're not alone. Even if it feels like it, you're not. I always say, why complain? There's somebody out there doing worse than me, right? And we walk around with that smile, hiding all the pain we're going through. It's not just you. It's not just you. I was had a brother in here yesterday. Big up to Mo McCoy. Big up to him. We was chopping it up, and he don't even know that we got sort of like the same story. You know, he dealt with suicide, losing a loved one. You know, just like y'all know I have. Man, just like I have, and it's rough. It's rough. But you still got to walk around. You still got to do what you got to do. You still got to smile. Just know you're not alone. Big up. I see you, Shout Body. Us before me, the Thug Bible movement's in the house. You say, yeah, a lot of people get stressed out and lonely. We got to learn to never let them see you sweat. See? And that's what we do, right? We try to not let folks see you sweat, you know? I go back to when my pops died in the morning. And in that afternoon, that evening, I had an event to do. So I had to go there and smile and act like everything was just okay. You know what I'm saying? I still, and that's how we're trained, right? That's how we're taught. That's how we're learned. To never let them see you sweat. And then there's times when I'm by myself, you know, and I like to go by the water, you know. I like to go by the water. I like to go by the water and just gather my thoughts, you know, let emotions and stuff out. You know, we talk all the time about make you, download you some songs, you know, journal, go for a walk, go to the gym. Big up to my brother in Canada, DJ Immortal. He said, I feel the same way, brother. Sometimes I'm just not all right. I deal with depression a lot and tend to close myself off. You know, that's called isolation. You know, you isolate. You know, I do that a lot too. I do that at times, you know, and it's good for you though sometimes, but a lot of times it's not good for you. Big up, Omizi, I see you, fam. You know, I got some tips though I want to talk about, right? Tips from the heart. Tips from the heart. Let me drop these gems on you, right? Just to help you get through them dark moments. You know, find someone safe. You know, just one person. Find someone safe. It could be your cousin, your barber, a hotline. You know, there's somebody that's going to listen and not judge. You know, that's hard to get. Somebody who can listen and not judge. Oh, that goes both ways, fam. That goes both ways. Believe me, Immortal. You know, I say journal. You know, journal that pain out. You know, write like nobody's watching, man. You know, get those thoughts out so they don't poison your soul and your mind. You know, a lot of artists, and I remember when I used to write rhymes and songs. Some of your best work come from the pain. You know, come out of your pain. You get music. You know, throw on that music that lifts you up. Or, you know, listen to them songs that make you cry, man. Just let it get out. Just let it out. Let it out. Let it out. It all helps. You know. And one thing we all neglect, I know I do, is getting proper rest. You know, don't let society gas you into thinking rest is weak, you know. Sometimes healing is the hustle. Sometimes you need that rest. My back was messed up for 2 weeks. You know, I wanted to go to the gym still, but my body was telling me I needed that rest. You know what I'm saying? I got a letter from a message from someone, right? They hit the DM and it said, It said, Trey Bug, you know, I ain't told nobody this, but I'm battling lupus and I feel forgotten. My fam don't check in. I'm missing work. I feel like a burden. That messed me up, you know. But I told him what I'm about to tell you. You know, you're not a burden. You know, you're a blessing that's just going through a battle. That's it, you know. You feel like that at times, like you're a burden, right? I know me going through the cancer and everything, I be feeling like I'm a burden sometime, you know. You get them thoughts, you get, you know, that depression hits. You know, I suffer with depression, PTSD, you know. But you gotta remember, you know, and talk to yourself, you know. Talk to yourself. Give yourself positive affirmations, you know. You know, wake up. I wake up. I don't do it all the day, all the time, but most of the time I do it, you know, and look in the mirror and just say things to myself, you know. Like you're not, you know, I'm not alone. You know, there's a lot of folks out there that care and love me. You feel me? Outside of my family, my kids and grandkids, you know. I'm not alone. It may feel like it, but I tell myself I'm not alone. You know, I'm healing at my own pace. You know, I matter even on my worst days. You know, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be worthy. You know, what are you going? Ask myself, what am I going to do with these next 24 hours? You know, who am I going to help? How am I going to make a difference? How am I do something positive? What can I do today that was better than yesterday? I tell myself I'm still here. I made it another day. I'm still here, and that means something. You know, that means something. Go to the yeah. That PTSD is way more common amongst us than we know, and I talk about it. Right, a lot of people are walking around with undiagnosed illnesses, man, mental illnesses, physical illnesses, but a lot of us is, yo, it was a myth years ago that only if you were in the military you could have PTSD, but that's, you know, that I tell everybody that's not true. PTSD is just living, seeing, or going through something traumatic. You know, a lot of us is lived in them streets. You know, a lot of folks out there seen and done things, right? They have PTSD. You know, my kids have PTSD. Where I used to live, they seen about, by the time my son was 9 years old, he probably, you know, seen and witnessed, not even witnessed, but, you know, heard at least 8 shootings. You know, seen about 4 people that got shot. You know, people ain't supposed to see stuff like that, and that stuff messes with you. PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. It's not a disease, man. It's a disorder. You know, I forgot that I had the whole slideshow presentation like I usually do, but I was running a little behind on today, so I forgot to put it up, y'all. But what I'll do, I'll recap what we talked about, right? First, it was the silent struggles. The silent struggles. That smile. you know, behind all that pain, covering up all that pain. We all deal with them silent struggles, you know. Like I said, sometimes I just sit in silence, you know. Think about how many people walking around, man, that got it all together and think they act like they got it all together, but they don't. And that's what we do, right? We act like we got it all together. We act like we're not hurting, you know. As a kid, I used to get told all the time, you know, boy, get up. That don't hurt. I'll give you something that hurts, you know what I mean? And for my people who don't deal with illnesses, right? Check it on your folks. Don't wait for them to ask. Call somebody, man. My man Chago, big up to him. I always say, you know, we need to start calling and just checking up on each other, you know. You're like, just like I just called you, you call someone else. You never know, that phone call could really help somebody. You never know what someone's going through, right? And like I just put right here, so, you know, sometimes that could be the difference between I'm done and I'm holding on. You know, I get so many, I ain't gonna say like so many, but I get a lot of calls, man. More than I should be getting from people telling me they're done. They're tired. They don't want to go on. And just me listening, help them, you know? And this culture we're in, right? We got to stop acting like it's soft to care for folks, you know? Caring ain't weak. You know, that's what makes us strong. And that's what makes us real. You know? I want you to do this for me. If this podcast be helping you on Fridays, you know, we don't have the call-in number tonight, you know. But if these be helping you, you know, go back and rewatch the other ones, you know. Or send it to someone. Share it with someone who may be going through something. You know, let them know there's a safe place for them to come to. You know, I answer the comments. You know, we usually have a call-in number. If I could just help one person, that's good, you know. And I say this ain't just for me, it's for those of y'all out there that may be dealing with something, you know. Share it with someone. When it's posted, go back on YouTube, leave comments, you know, DM me topics, you know, that you want me to talk about. Big love, bro, easy. You know, you going through something, holla at me, you know. I know how to listen, you know. My pops always used to tell me, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, you know. But most importantly, stay tapped in, stay tapped in. We doing big things over here at the headquarters. And the Friday night chop-ups, y'all know what time it is and what it is. You know, we mental health and physical health issues, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. You could, like I'm gonna say it again, you could have been anywhere doing anything else at this time, right here, but you're here with me. Hey, it's your big homie Trey Boogie. I appreciate y'all. I'll holla.
F&G shit. Shot the whole day, go. Shot the bro Trey Boogie. We sliding.
Johnny Rock.
Sliding in the rental, trying to run a milli up. In the southeast, trade boogie been a plug. Rubber bands on the blues, hella panoramic views. If you get into it with the squad, you can never lose. It's on the flow like yellow rider. I got your vibe on the toes like nail polish. In the city, we get respected from everybody. You about to pull up on trade boogie, now let's chop it. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Got it wet, it's not a cut. Ain't worried about what nobody else got, cause I got enough. Me and Trey Boogie locked in, he threw a lob, I dunk. Heard the beat and sauced it up, can't nobody go hard as us. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up.